Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast.
This isn't two podcasters talking business. This is two business guys trying to podcast. Well, in case you were under the impression that we took this podcast seriously, lest your worries be eased, Willows is wearing a top hat.
While Tyler plays with the our new equipment here, I will tell you that this is Alcohol Beyond This Point, episode 55. Welcome to the show where Tyler and I give you business advice and then drink alcohol, and then we decide if that was dumb business advice or not.
Now I can hear you.
What did you do?
I flipped it from mono to stereo.
Yeah, so bear with us. The last couple episodes, there's been some, not technical difficulties, but I've had to edit the sound more than I usually do because we got a new soundboard or whatever, and it's been taking some time to get used to it, but we're rolling with the punches here.
Yeah, so if our volume changes throughout, that's because I'm fucking with it, and just deal with it, okay? We're trying. I actually used to be a actual sound technician, mostly live music and speaking stuff. So I've learned really complex soundboards, like the 180 channel electronic boards and beyond. And light systems and so forth, and also live music and studio recording. But this is basic as fuck, and I forget most of it, so I'm trying.
Well, that's why I put it on your side, because I figured you were better.
I feel like you also just wanted to defer any
blame to you
and work.
That's fair.
He's like, I'm gonna wear my fucking top hat, sit here in the corner, and blame Tyler for shit.
Yeah. So how tall is my top hat, Tyler?
Oh, I'm a pretty good judge of size. I would give it 9 inches.
It's the tallest one they had. Because
you don't know how big though?
Wait, but you always add 2 inches. So it's actually 7 inches.
I'd say 8 at the least.
Boys always add 2 inches.
I don't.
Okay. So the shorter top hats, I didn't want to get confused as someone who wears a fedora.
Right.
I wanted to make a statement with this quite tall top hat.
And it's working.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I've been wearing it for 2 days straight, just at my computer in my office.
Yeah, I know you got onto our weekly call yesterday with it, and it was pretty great.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So today I went to bring my my van that I daily drive. I daily drive my corporate van because money. And the fans went out, and we live in a very cold place, so I couldn't, it's fine to sit in, if I'm just driving to the office 10 minutes, it's fine if it's minus 30. I just fucking wear a jacket and it's whatever. But what was the problem is I couldn't fucking defrost my windshield because the defroster, there was no air blowing, right?
Yeah.
So I was driving the other day, and I was trying to get home after this happened, and I had to roll down the windows and look out the passenger side window, and it was minus 30, and it was a whole thing. And I was scraping it with a credit card at lights, but it would fog back up in 30 seconds. So it was not ideal.
But it's fixed now?
Well, so here's the thing. So I call the dealership because it's under warranty, and I make they're earliest we can fit you in is fucking 10 days from now. And I'm like, this is a fucking safety issue. I had to look out my passenger side window to make a turn. This is a fucking, come on. And then, so she's like, okay, let me talk to my manager. Puts me on hold, gets back, and she's like, okay, we agree with you. It is a safety issue. Bring it in. And if we have a cancellation, someone can work on it. Or she said, sometimes the mechanics will work through their lunch.
Yeah. Well, what really happens is they bill for 4 hours, but the mechanic only takes him 2. But he gets paid based on the billable whatever. So he gets paid 4 hours, and if he finishes in 2, he can double up on his time.
Yeah, and he can fix more vehicles. Yeah. So anyway, so she's like, bring it in, and if we can fit you in, we fit you in. I'm like, great. So on the way there, and I had a ride and everything scheduled to pick me up, obviously, because I drop off the vehicle. On the way there, I'm driving, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to test it again. Turn it. Fucking blasting air. It's fixed.
Like my van.
Yeah, I have no idea. Well, and then so I pull over, and I call the dealership Same person picks up. So I'm like, great. Okay. So here's the thing. I'm on my way to bring the van in. She's like, yeah. And I'm like, and it seems to be, everything's fixed. She starts laughing. She's like, okay. I'm like, in your professional opinion, like, what happened? She said, obviously she can't tell, but she said maybe like the literal fan was like frozen.
Yeah, it could be.
Or something. Because I hadn't, remember around like New Year's, I hadn't driven it for like 3 days. Because I was just at home. So who knows? But it's so she sent me a new appointment for like a week from now. And then if it breaks, bring it in. And if it doesn't, just call that morning and then like cancel the appointment or whatever.
Yeah, I had literally the same thing happen to me yesterday.
Your vehicle exploded and then...
Yeah, no, my fan just quit working and my ABS lights went on and a bunch of shit just stopped working. And yeah, I was like, oh, well, that fucking sucks because I had a bunch of... I got a laundry list of shit I need to take care of on my free time.
Right
like,
as you paid it off. I think, didn't you just make your last payment on it?
I think so.
Or you have like one more or something?
It's around there,
It's like
yeah.
coming right to the end.
Yeah, and I've had no issues with the thing. It's awesome. Just clicked over 315,000 kilometers on it. And, you know, runs like a dream. But... yeah, it just crapped out. The fan stopped working, EBS stopped working, and then also I had an issue where it just was like it almost was stalling at like stoplights and stuff, and the lights were dimming, so it was like almost dying out every time I would slow down, like wasn't on the gas.
It's an automatic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I had to like put it in neutral and like keep feathering the gas to keep it from stalling. I'm like, this is fucking weird.
That's wild.
And then it's fine. No, it's fine. Yeah,
dude,
no.
I think it's just like machines are not fucking made to work in
No.
minus 40 degrees
Not
Celsius.
at all.
Like, I know they do like their, like BMW does their fucking like cheeky, like, oh, we go test them in the Arctic to like make sure their tires grip properly. It's like, but you don't leave them there for 6 months. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
don't
like,
you don't leave that BMW there for 48 hours and then try to cold start the bitch.
Yeah, like,
you know what happens to those BMWs? They end up on flatbeds and at the dealership.
yeah. So people just don't make machines with like Winnipeg in mind. Like,
Yeah, one of our friends yesterday was saying like, or no, shit, actually it was my one of my workers today was saying, he's like, what's the market for like a purpose-built Canada vehicle? Like it's explicitly designed for our weather
probably
and road
not
conditions.
very high because like central Canada here, like the prairies are the only place it gets this cold.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean it's and then maybe up northern.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean they already kind of have shit they work with. But
They kind of figure it out, yeah.
yeah, again, it's like limitations of mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
Electric motors freeze up. Like I have brushless tools, which is like the best, highest power, super compact, really good quality electric motors running like solid state, lithium ion batteries, and they fucking die.
Yeah.
Like I had a tool, I just couldn't turn it on until I like smashed it on the ground, and then it started working again. It just
Well, I
froze
wonder,
fucking
like-
solid. But you can't like do that to your car. You can't.
What kind of engine do they put in the Mars rover?
It'll be an electric engine.
Yeah, and that's pretty cold.
Yeah.
So like we just do that.
Yeah, I think it also might be different because they don't have to deal with moisture.
Because there's no atmosphere.
They only have to deal with dust.
Dusty boy.
So I think in vacuum it's different than what we deal with.
That's fair.
Different conditions.
Yeah.
Like an electric motor can work in a vacuum. But I'm not a Mars boy.
No, Elon, give me a Mars rover to drive around.
Please do. Tell a story about your friend that was in New Zealand or Australia that was saying like, "Oh, it's so cold here."
That was jail.
Oh,
I remember what the story was.
what a weak lead in.
She was she was saying like in New Zealand. I just took those out of the fridge.
I mean, they could just be sitting down here.
That's fair. She was saying in New Zealand, because like jail was like, oh, you don't know anything about fucking cold, like Canada cold. She's like, yeah, like in the the southern island it gets like 0 and like there's snow up in the mountains, and like he's like no. Like I think people's concept, like Texas when they fucking went to shit this year or last year. Shit, it's 2022.
I know.
Well, oh, hi, welcome to 2022, by the way. This is our first podcast, 2022. When Texas went to shit after what happened? I don't even remember. Their grid went down for some reason because they had a storm.
Yeah, basically a winter storm.
Like the coldest it got was like -3.
Yeah, it was basically
And like
what
2,000 people died.
what fucked it all up is all their gas lines run above ground, which is bonkers to me, because it's easier to just like put a pipeline, like put a pipe on a stand, and it's just like our hydro lines and stuff. It just runs on poles above the ground.
I feel like that's an inefficient use of space.
Not really.
I don't know.
I mean, you don't build anything on top of pipelines either. That's dead space. You're
Well, it
not
depends.
allowed to. There's nothing on top of pipelines. It's also dead space. But you could theoretically like hit one of these gas lines with a fucking tractor or a plane or something, and then cause an insane explosion.
Yeah.
But yeah, typically pipelines are just no-go zones, anyways. I mean, sometimes they run under like usable land.
Like farmland.
Yeah, farmland. I know there's actually one like really close to Morden, like close enough that if there was a catastrophic incident, it would like wipe out a corner of Morden, which is great.
It's fine.
Yeah, totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, unproblematic.
Yeah. Did you see America just had 1 million COVID cases in a day, only 4 days after they passed the first day of 500,000?
Okay, was that estimated or was that actual?
I don't know.
Like,
What do I look
was that like
Dr.
actual
Fauci?
case numbers?
I don't know. Does Dr. Fauci wear a top hat?
I
Therefore,
wish.
I don't look like him. I don't fucking know.
That's racist.
Well, for instance, here in Manitoba, we've plateaued at like reporting like 1,700 cases a day because that's the limit of what we can test.
Yeah, and the positivity rate went up to like 40%,
Yeah.
which is bonkers.
Looney Tunes. Like, we're all gonna fucking die.
Yeah, they were saying the our actual positivity rates around, or actual case rate was around like 1,000 a day, or was 1,700 a day? Was that positive results?
No, our positive results are about 1,700 a day.
Okay,
But Atwall said it could be 8 to 10 times higher than that.
you're right, because I know of an entire group of people, a family and extended, that all tested positive with rapid tests. None of them have gotten lab tests, and therefore none of them have been recorded.
Well, because they're telling us not to go.
Yeah.
Man, then we're fucked.
Are we?
Is America fucked like this too?
Oh yeah, same way. But are we? Like,
I don't know, man. Looks like we successfully got together for Christmas and New Year's without getting sick. So,
yeah, none of us got it, right?
Literally last episode we were talking about how you might have Omicron.
Oh yeah.
Like, so
Oh yeah. Yeah, nothing happened.
Nothing happened. It's been a week and we're fine. So
Yeah, although two of my coworkers, no, sorry, one out of the two other people that were there, one out of the two got some mild symptoms.
Are they vaccinated?
Yeah.
Okay.
The unvaccinated one, however, had 0 symptoms.
You getting your booster soon?
Yeah.
Zach's getting his tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna book mine in.
I haven't booked mine yet. I'm just kind of done with this shit, honestly.
Yeah.
I've just been taking ivermectin. I've been taking ivermectin every morning.
That's good.
You
You only have to take it like twice a year, but sure.
And my worms are back.
It's because you're taking it too much.
What? 30 times an hour? I'm snorting ivermectin 30
Just
times an hour.
Snorting horse pills.
What is it? A powder? Probably.
I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of delivery systems, but typically I
Oh,
think it's
suppository ivermectin.
yeah.
That was my nickname. No, that was the name of my band in high school, actually. Suppository ivermectin. We were a punk band.
Oh, okay. Punk band. What was your hit song?
Donald Trump. But I actually wrote it before Mac Miller did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, what you're saying is fuck Mac Miller?
No, rest in peace, Mac Miller.
Oh, okay, just making sure.
What I'm saying is
He stole your song,
he stole my song.
and it's fine.
And it's fine.
I guess.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, man, I don't know. I think, like, my biggest worry now is shifting to the businesses that are being left out to dry, because we're coming back down.
So most of them?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, is like we're coming back into restrictions here, but there's not going to be any supports in tandem with the restrictions like last time.
Yeah.
And like another 2 restaurants that have like fucking Blondie's Burgers on Main Street, 36 years they've been around. just declared bankruptcy from COVID.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like, and that's like, I keep seeing fucking restaurants, bars that, you know, are kind of Winnipeg staples that are like, yep, we can't do this again.
That's hospitality,
Which
though.
is my industry, though.
Right.
So that's why I
Yeah,
feel
of
for
course.
these people.
But I mean, hospitality is a relatively small part of the economy.
Sure.
It's like if people don't spend money at a restaurant, they'll spend it elsewhere. It's like discretionary spending, right?
Yeah.
So,
But there's a lot of problems with manufacturing. Like, supply chains are fucked.
yeah, but that's not most of those things are typically under critical infrastructure and so on and so forth. They're not being affected as much by lockdowns.
Yeah, but it's all kind of...
But they are, I guess, probably being affected by like actual COVID cases. Like, for example, the Winnipeg police.
Yeah. Our chief of police just declared a state of emergency because 90 of their officers have fucking COVID.
Yeah, but that's, I don't know, they've got to have thousands, right?
No, I think it's like 1,800.
Really?
I think so. Of like on the street.
At a time.
Yeah. Or no, like just on the street, I think.
1,800, really?
I think so, yeah.
And they're,
They have a lot of support staff and shit, obviously.
yeah, and they're 24% of our city's budget for 1,800
Dude,
people.
there's like 16 cops that make more than the mayor. They're paying like 5-year veterans like $270,000.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and then they don't get vaccinated, and then they get sick, and then there's a shortage, so then they ask for more money.
Yeah.
Like,
Makes sense to me.
It's a fucking...
And they're all on paid leave, I'm sure.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
I passed, this is unrelated, but driving here between my house and Portage in Maine, which is roughly like 10 minutes, I passed 6 ambulances.
Okay.
And 2 fire trucks.
Do you have any other... Okay.
What the fuck is happening today?
How were the conditions today?
Fucked.
Yeah, they were really... I was driving yesterday, I was sliding around.
So they've already, we're just going to keep bitching about the winter because it's rough right now. They've plowed the roads, but they can't really plow them because they're so icy and the ice is so hard that the plows can't get it or can't scrape it off. So you have these like ruts where you have these ruts where your tires, whatever, slip into. So if you're trying to get in and out of your lane, you like fucking slide around like crazy. It feels ridiculous. And if you're driving across the ruts, like you go, at least in my vehicle, fucking airborne, and everything is ice. Like in the track is ice. In between where there's snow is now just ice. And yeah, you're going 10, 20, 30 under the speed limit everywhere you go as like your maximum speed. It's just fucking scary. I saw like 3 cars in the ditch just on Henderson today, like driving to my job site.
Did you see on like Winnipeg Wilden, they posted like
cars up on like snow drifts and stuff, like
Yeah.
up against telephone poles, almost
Yeah.
at vertical
Like
angles.
sometimes it's like you don't even know how this shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
Or like a guy fucking crashed into a bar the other day
Yeah.
in the Grove on the corner of
Oh, that's
Stafford
just a regular, ordinary, pretty frequent thing
Well,
in
and
the
then
city.
cops said today that alcohol wasn't involved in that, though.
Yeah.
So it's like, I love it. Like, you're just sober crashing into restaurants.
Yeah, no, that's the best thing about Winnipeg. It's like,
Two different vehicles crashed into the fucking Winnipeg COVID testing site on 2 different days.
yeah, just
What
hit the door.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, they probably hit the door on its way up or on its way down or something.
Christ.
Yeah, I bet you it was like someone trying to like scoot into the building as the door was closing.
Dude, we're like collectively losing our minds as a society.
It's a hell of it's real slow. It's pretty boring, and I think that's actually how the end of the world is going to be.
With a whimper, not a bang.
Yeah.
I agree.
There'll be some bangs, but you'll probably just see it on TV.
Well, yeah, people always like to think it's going to be like a fucking zombie apocalypse or a nuclear war, but realistically, this is it. This is why the Earth is ending. Like, this is how it's going to end.
One thing I like to look at or imagine or think about when I watch those types of movies is, I mean, you have like the main characters, you know, these like ridiculous plague apocalypse movies where it's following like the CDC doctor that's doing investigations and they're flying around and whatever, they have all this intense shit happening. I like to think about like what's happening to like the ordinary people that are just like bunking down at home and haven't had shit all happen.
Yeah, they're just watching 6 months of Tiger King reruns. And
Yeah, and their apocalypse is like they're bunkered down for a while. They've got some food, you're doing okay, and then one day you gotta like go out, because you're just going crazy, and you peek your head out the door and a fucking zombie bites you, and you're just like and then you die. Like your entire story is like
So that was exciting. Mid podcast here, we got a knock on the studio door.
a loud one.
My roommate saying, "Hey, I think the furnace just went out." And if you were paying attention for the first half hour of the episode, we were just bitching about how cold the winter is right now.
And I was about to comment. I'm like, "Fuck, it's cold down here."
Well, because it's always cold down here, and I'm just like, "Quit your bitching. I like it cold down here."
But it's probably like 12. Yeah, it's probably like 14 degrees Celsius.
It was 16 upstairs, so
it's
yeah,
probably
it was
like 12 to 14 down here.
Yeah, probably.
So
yeah.
let's translate that into American.
Pretty similar, I think, right? Once you start getting that cold.
Um,
Because -7 is the same in both.
12C2F is not even close, by the way.
Okay.
It is -30 is when it matches.
I thought it was -7.
No.
I don't know.
12 degrees is 53 Fahrenheit.
-12.
No, plus 12 is 53 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right. So it's probably like 53 degrees in here. And the furnace broke. So Tyler, being a little genius...
Oh, -40, sorry. -40 is where it lines up.
Tyler fixed the furnace. Was
Yeah,
the story I was
sorry,
trying to fucking
sorry.
tell.
Yeah, so I just popped off the panel and made you squeak a little bit. You're like, don't break it.
I literally wasn't even watching you. I was playing with the dog while you were doing that.
Oh, I can't tell the difference between you and Sophie, I guess.
So anyway, here is the segment that we call Shot Caller, the part of the show where you, the audience, can pick the shot that we take. This week we're taking Jägermeister because
Reasons.
because I was in the mood.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Jägermeister, for sponsoring this episode.
And thank you, natural gas.
Tastes like lacrosse.
Can you bloody imagine if natural gas lines in this province just froze?
How cold does it have to get?
I don't know. And they're buried pretty deep.
Yeah, I feel like we've thought of that.
Natural gas.
Well, what is the natural gas? Like what substance is it?
It's gas.
Yeah, but what is it? What kind of gas?
God, that's cold.
Yeah.
That can't... Okay, I've got to put my foot in my mouth. So, the pipelines of natural gas in Texas couldn't have frozen, because it's definitely way, way colder than it has ever gotten anywhere. It's -297 degrees.
No, but maybe the pipelines, like if they were built up with ice, maybe that's like...
I don't know. Maybe it was some part. I'm fairly certain it's something to do with their gas pipeline system that froze up, but it wouldn't have been the gas itself.
What kind of gas is it?
Liquid natural gas.
Is it nitrogen?
No.
Like it's not just gas.
No, it's LNG, liquid natural gas. It's not gas. It's not a gas form of gas.
What is it on the periodic table? What is it made out of?
It's a hydrocarbon.
It's a hydrogen atom and a carbon atom?
Yeah,
So it's water.
No.
Oh, that's oxygen and hydrogen. Shit!
Anyways.
Anyway.
I know some things, not a lot though. But yeah, I don't know. Anyways, Texas got fucked, and we're fine so far.
So far.
But just maybe not even our gas lines freezing. Like imagine if just gas stopped flowing, kind of like what Russia's doing.
I think there's a lot of opportunity. Like the next 100, maybe not like the next ones, but like there's going to be hundreds of billionaires that are created over the next like decade.
Sure.
Of people like Elon Musk that kind of find the better mousetrap like, love him or hate him,
I think they'll get there with NFTs, but sure.
love it or hate him, Elon Musk made electric cars cool.
Yeah.
That, like, you can't argue with that.
And space travel, sexy again.
Sure, but you can't argue with that. Teslas were cool when before electric cars were sought as little pussy fucking
Yeah.
children Priuses, right?
People are like, wow, there's no way an electric car could be fast or fun.
Exactly. Somebody needs to and is going to do that with fucking heating your house.
Sure.
I think there's a huge opportunity for people being like, hey, we can get off coal by doing this, and it's cool. You know, and then is going to create a lot of fucking wealth.
Shit exists out there. What is difficult is it's the fact that most people, even if there's the tech, like I know.
Is that gonna like work now? Oh, cool.
Yeah, Willows is one of the most annoying people ever. Where he'll just like fuck with something and just like bang it around and like, the meme of where someone's trying to close the fridge door and they just keep like slamming it and slamming it and slamming it, and they look down, there's like their kid's head is stuck in the door. That's Willows.
Yeah. So
except he would see the kid and then continue to swing the door.
So, the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean. Probably the weakest in my opinion. I'm a big fan of the original trilogy, and the newest one's fine, but the fourth is probably the worst one. But there's this scene where Jack is like captured by like the king or whatever, and he plans out his escape with like he puts like a rag near the fucking window so like the guard would slip out of it, and he puts a fucking cake on the chandelier, and there's a whole thing, and he like planned this out all in his head before he starts, but he's like tied up in shackles, so while the king's talking he's like banging the shackles around, like just making a bunch of noise, and then the king's like, fucking untie him, that's really annoying. And they're like, sir, like, and he's like, fucking get rid of it, it's really annoying. That's basically
like
me.
Yeah, like every time he tries to talk, he just like
yeah. So I was just just now, why we're talking about this is because I couldn't turn the mic where I wanted it, so I was just like banging it until Tyler was like, you're a fucking idiot, and then fixed it for me.
Yeah, for the second time today, I improve your life significantly.
So
God, what would you do if you didn't have friends like me?
With friends like you, who needs
contractors?
Anyway, I think there's a giant opportunity for entrepreneurs.
Yes, I was going to go into, a giant opportunity for entrepreneurs. I do know a builder that is focusing on this stuff. Like, he's trying to be like a decade ahead of the curve with building techniques, with like cutting edge stuff, but just focusing on these specific things that work far better than just like stick framing and, foam insulation and fiberglass and wool or whatever the fuck people are doing, and like jumping ahead to what the next gen is. And he's building I think I mentioned this before, but he's building a house for himself. He said that is so like thermally efficient that it can be cooled with like a fountain.
And you said heated with a hairdryer.
And heated with a hairdryer.
Yeah.
And like the heat from like the LEDs and stuff is almost enough to heat the house. And we're talking about like a 10,000 square foot like luxury home.
Mansion, probably.
Yeah,
basically.
A mansion. Yeah. But yeah, just such a high R value. But that's the issue is not can it be done, or is it affordable? Because like per square foot, whatever cost of construction of that versus the other, not necessarily a big difference. But you have a definitely like there's not production capacity for every house to be built that way. We just don't have the infrastructure for it. Like that would have to be a very slow shift. And then also the fact that 90% of people, even in first world countries, live in a house that's 5-10 years old or way older. A lot of people living in 100-year-old homes. So What you're saying is like, what if there was someone that just came in and said, I have a new furnace?
Yeah, I got a way to do it.
Yeah.
Because tech is getting, like, what's that law where we like double the tech every 7 years or whatever?
It's named after...
Turing?
I know who it's named. What's that?
Is it named after Turing?
No. That's Turing test.
Right. That's to see if robots are real.
It's named after the CEO of IBM.
Yeah, and he said that you would every 7 years, I think it is.
Moore's law.
Moore's law. You're correct. Good call there.
Thanks. I was in the tech industry.
Moore's law is that we every 7 years, right? That we double the capacity or the technology that we used to have.
Yeah.
Apparently, we've like now broken that where we're like doubling quicker.
Yes.
And this used to be like a widely accepted tech law is now like, no, we're just fucking going gangbusters now. So people kind of like, you know, we're not very far off some pretty futuristic tech, I think.
Yeah, things that seem unreal.
Yeah.
Now.
Yes. And I think all it takes for there's probably budding entrepreneurs out there that will be able to kind of stumble into the idea. Like, think about like Elon Musk may be smart, but he's not fucking inventing this tech. You know,
No.
like he's contracting firms, engineering firms or tech firms to come up with the tech, right?
Or it's his own engineers, yeah.
He's not Nikola Tesla sitting in the lab making a fucking
No.
Tesla ray, right? Tesla coil. Like Elon Musk is not the inventor himself.
No.
So I think there's there's room for entrepreneurs that are like smart business people that can just get the right minds together with the right idea. And I think that's
Right.
what's probably going to save the world.
You sound like you've read Ayn Rand.
wasn't
Some billionaire in a laboratory somewhere is going to come up with,
No.
you know, the God particle answer to everyone's
whole
problems and then equitably distribute it to the entire world
No, I think that was the
without
opposite.
enriching themselves.
The opposite of that. No, Ayn Rand was like, all the billionaires left and then the world went to shit because people didn't.
Well,
rely
they left because they were trying to teach people a lesson because they were the
Yeah.
only valuable members of
Yeah.
society.
Whatever.
And everyone
No,
else
no,
is just like rats.
Someone that invents the better mousetrap, the better furnace, whatever, doesn't have to do it for fucking philanthropic reasons. I'm saying these people are going to be the new fucking age of billionaires, are the people that can solve problems like that.
Yeah, I think eco technology is the future. Period.
Because you know, like at a certain point, like what's that fucking climate summit they just had,
COP.
where no one agreed to anything and basically
Nothing happened.
Pretty soon, you're not going to be able to deny it anymore.
Well, I think
Sure.
I think the time is now, but
Okay.
it's getting harder every year. I'll give you that.
But people, like, it'll be, like, people are going to start dying en masse. They already are, but
Yeah.
like,
Like we're talking a 9/11 happening on a weekly basis.
and we're talking white people start dying.
That's the
that's
real.
what-
That's
that-
the
yeah.
real travesty.
That's no, but that's what's going to make.
That's what shit. That's some fucking people start caring.
That's what's
right?
going to make the United States and the EU care.
Well, yeah. Well,
they-
it'll become more granular than that. It'll be like, oh, when people in red states start dying.
Yes, which like some of the like Texas saw it right this last year. Like,
Yeah, Florida's gonna get it good.
Yeah,
North
so-
Carolina, like, I think that's a red
so
state.
as soon as Florida is half underwater, President DeSantis in 2028.
Santis.
DeSantis.
It's IS.
Well, I don't care.
That's fair.
Is gonna be like, hey, yeehaw, partners! I don't want my frickin' Florida to be underwater.
Yeah, that's his fucking state. Like,
Yeah,
if
exactly.
anyone should care.
Yeah, and then he's gonna be like, okay, I'm reloaded. He's gonna say, yeehaw, I'm gonna give $1 trillion instead of giving it to Halliburton to build fucking missiles. I'm gonna give it to a 25-year-old climate entrepreneur
Yeah.
that's build it that like.
So that's what we're going for.
Well,
Be that grifter.
Well, that's what I'm not saying I'm capable of being that grifter, but I'm saying there are people capable of being that grifter.
100%. Yeah.
That can
It's probably Kyle Rittenhouse.
if Kyle Rittenhouse in like 3 years is like, so I've been working on this furnace that burns water, like,
Or just in general, it becomes a champion of the left. I think that'd be amazing.
yeah.
And then, okay, so here's the hero story. He's currently like in godlike status on the right.
Yeah.
Um,
Is he still, or is it kind of
he
past
is
its-
he is still. like verbatim, they can like Fox News hosts, whoever, they consider him a superstar. Like they're going to platform the fuck out of
Well,
him.
he's getting I know he's getting like a podcast and shit on like sponsored by Fox.
Yeah, he's gonna get multi-million-dollar deals.
Yeah.
And he's gonna go on campaign trail, like fucking mark my words.
Good for him, I guess.
Yeah, good for him. You kill some people and make a lot of money. Great.
That's the American way, baby.
True. Yeah, well, I mean, what's wrong with that? I see nothing problematic at all.
I don't know. He killed a pedophile
And a nurse.
and a nurse.
Well, he didn't kill that guy. He just shot him in the arm.
Yeah.
That's fine. Anyways, we don't care about Kyle.
I
But
don't care.
Let's say
Any American
Kyle.
dying is like good news for me.
I don't think the guy's like really super right wing. I think he's just a dumb kid.
I agree.
But
Yeah.
let's say, you know,
I don't think this kid.
let's say he observes, you know, reality and acknowledges it exists, and you know, believes in like science and the, you know, laws of physics and the universe. Let's say those things are true.
Yeah.
He becomes a champion of the left because of like climate change,
Yeah.
but also the right still loves him because he
so-
says all that shit.
Oh, so he can be like the guy that brings the sides together.
He becomes God King.
Yeah, he's like Jesus. He can bring both sides together.
I am all for Kyle Rittenhouse.
Kyle Rittenhouse, president, fucking.
No, Kyle Rittenhouse, God King, president of the world.
You know the like QAnon conspiracy where like Trump was going to become like the first president of the Republic of the United States or whatever?
Right, yeah.
That's Kyle Rittenhouse.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like I think there's a reason why Elon Musk went from barely a household name to the richest man in history in like what 10 years?
Yeah.
Like when did you really start hearing about Tesla in the news?
Well, I mean, I'm a bad example.
Okay,
I've been following Tesla since they released their first Roadster.
Yeah, me and you have been paying attention, but the average person, I don't really think was paying attention.
Yeah, and like I was telling a story the other day, and I'm like, yeah, you know when Elon Musk was just like regular billionaire rich, like, you know, he's like worth like 10 billion, you know, poor, because now he can like buy Brazil and go to space.
Do you see that picture of Jeff Bezos with a fucking like model or something, and he's like, he looks like Pitbull, and he's fucking wearing like a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, like, if you're that fucking rich, I would be more concerned if he wasn't fucking around with models in a Hawaiian shirt, like cruising around on a super yacht doing whatever. Like,
Yeah,
I'd be more concerned if he was like, you know, like Zuckerberg, just getting
happily married.
happily married and getting pale.
Well, so here's the thing about Zuckerberg is that he never wanted to go to Epstein's Island and fuck children, because he's a robot with
Because he's a lizard
with no sexual pleasure. Like he's just a fucking android.
I watched some of the video of like him, like I watched some of the meta video.
Yeah,
and
kind of I don't know. I think he does it on purpose. If I'm being honest,
that he's so creepy.
I think he has he knows exactly what he's doing. This guy is fucking image coaches, like I'm sure, right? Like before they release a fucking video.
No, I feel like he's the kind of guy that's like unfilmable, but has been coached to this level, and that's as good as it gets.
Okay.
Like I've been on sets where, you know, filming promotional videos or commercials or whatever, and most people look on video they look very cringy. Like when you're trying to perform lines, when you're trying to like have a certain message, you know, like TikTok and stuff is, you know, it's a couple seconds, you're maybe performing a dance, you're maybe doing a bit of comedy.
Yeah, but doing
like,
a
and it's
30-minute.
It's candids, whatever. Like, but if I give you a script and you try to execute it and like sell an idea like a commercial, most people will come across in a really fucking cringy way that's almost hard to watch.
Yeah.
And it's really, really hard to embody that. So I think he's just someone who's, you know, would have been if Facebook didn't take off.
He was some douchebag college kid that got fucking rich by accident.
He would have become an incel. Like Zuckerberg without money would just be an incel on Reddit.
Okay, all right.
But Zuckerberg with money is what you get in the meta video. That's coached. That's a coached, you know.
You a Zuckerberg fan?
No.
I don't know. I think
I don't think it's possible to be a fan of that guy.
I like to take contrary opinions.
I think you gotta be a sociopath to like love what that guy does.
The whole sell my data thing, you consent to it though.
No,
Fuck
it's
off.
not. I don't give a fuck about selling the data. Everyone does it. That's not even cool. Like, it's the, like, cause a genocide and don't blink.
What's
like,
wrong with that, though? You know who I miss as far as, like, weird tech billionaires? Steve Jobs.
Oh God, I think a world with Steve Jobs. I mean, the guy was problematic in his own right. I've like read
Yeah.
I've read all the biographies and shit.
Yeah, I
on
watched the Ashton Kutcher movie. Yeah, he was a dick, and he thought that was how he got the most out of his employees, was
Yeah.
creating the most toxic work environment.
him. Basically, yeah.
But you watch that fucking guy on stage. I just recently rewatched the announcement of iPhone.
Yeah.
And it's just like how he paces everything, and like he was such a charismatic
Yeah, he was a
individual,
master.
but he was also a brilliant inventor, right? Which
Yeah.
is like usually not like, you ever watch fucking Steve Wozniak, like his partner,
Yeah.
talk, and he doesn't know, like, he can't make eye contact with you, and he's just fucking
Right.
whatever, right?
That's how I think of Zuckerberg.
Yeah, I agree. But you watch fucking
Zuckerberg
Steve
is
Jobs on stage, and he's talking like I just love the iPhone thing where he's like, today we're launching 3 different products. And
Right.
he's like, we're launching a fucking, touchscreen iPod, which was brand new at the time.
Yeah.
We're introducing a wireless revolutionary communication device, like an internet browser but mobile, and a cell phone.
Yeah.
And everyone's going fucking crazy, and then he's like, it's an iPod, communications device, it's a phone, it's an iPod, it's a communication. He's like, are you getting it yet? These are not 3 different devices. This is one device.
Yeah.
And then it like puts it up on the screen, and everyone's fucking losing their shit.
Yeah, that would have been like I'm getting like chills thinking about being in that room, being like, oh my God.
Yeah, no,
What is this?
People are losing their fucking shit because he was literally decades of like ahead of everyone copied iPhone.
Well, yeah, everyone was asking for faster horses, and he just rolled out a car.
Well, and then he was talking about how like other companies were like, he's like, you have fucking half, like he's like, we figured it out 20 years ago with Apple Lisa that like GUIs, like graphical user interfaces,
Yeah.
that change are more efficient. Like,
Right.
your computer screen, when you click on something, it changes completely, right?
Yeah.
There's no, well, I guess the keyboard, but there's no fixed things on the screen because that's just a waste of space. So he's like, a fucking iPod has or a phone, this whole keyboard is there whether you're using it or not.
Right.
So make it all screen. And then he's like, and then what's the fucking, everyone's like, oh, it's use a stylus to, control it. And then he's like, why is everyone fucking trying to use a stylus when we have the best, everyone's born with the fucking best, like, mouse clicker there is.
Yeah, your fucking fingers.
Because remember, he invented the fucking mouse as well.
Right.
Like,
No.
for computer. Yeah, it was Apple. Was the
Okay,
first
yeah.
one
So, sorry, he invented the first mouse, but he didn't invent like the idea of a cursor. That's where my mind went.
yeah, no.
That was Microsoft.
Yeah. But remember, they were
Like
working.
the GUI with the mouse.
They were working together at that point, though.
Well, I mean, but Microsoft, like IBM, whatever, those machines, they had like a roller ball and stuff,
Yes,
or like arrows to move the cursor.
Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't have the actual intuitive mouse with like left, right, click, scroll.
Well, because the whole thing with Apple was they wanted to, if you gave it to a 5-year-old, they could figure it out.
Right.
That was like their whole mantra.
Yeah.
Was if it's complicated, because remember fucking DOS at that time, you had to like type complex
Yeah.
code to fucking get it to boot and do anything, right? Like,
Yeah, to do anything at all. And now, like, I love where Apple went with the mouse in terms of like the touchpad. I find the touchpad or even like the Apple mouse to be far better than anything that's come out of Microsoft.
that's I used to,
Or like any or Linux or anything like gaming mouses with like all the buttons and shit. Like if you're doing gaming specifically, phenomenal.
Yeah,
If you're
of course.
doing like drafting, I remember having like a drafting mouse was awesome. Like you had all these like extra buttons and it was way faster. But for the average user, for like if I'm using word processor and a browser and like messaging, I'm switching tasks, but I'm just doing basic shit.
Yeah.
Mostly typing, mostly looking, clicking, moving, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The touchpad, far dominant, like because it has more. You can do more things than a mouse can.
Yeah.
Like I have one finger does one thing, 2 fingers does another. You can do like the the
Zooming and
the pinch in and out. You have the 3-finger swipe is like switching tabs.
Yeah.
There's a 4-finger gesture, and if you swipe from edge of pad, top of pad, bottom of pad, it's like all the gestures you have like on a smartphone, but it's all with a computer. So I have the touchpad is pretty big on new MacBooks, but I have like the giant one that's like the size of, I don't know,
A mouse pad.
yeah, well, it's the giant one. It's like 4 by 5 inches, 4 by 6 inches, and I have that sitting next to my keypad or keyboard, which is also super thin. Battery lasts forever. It's like the tech is super nice. I fucking hate iPhones.
Yeah, I don't like iPhones either.
I hate iPhones for all the reasons that I love the MacBook, which is funny.
Which is
I like
simplicity.
Yeah, simplicity, ease of use, but I just hate the iPhone.
I
I don't know. I can't use it.
Yeah.
It seems restrictive.
Apple really fucking figured their shit out, because not only is their shit like simpler, but then they charge double for it because it's simpler
and it's sexy.
somehow. You know what I mean? Like typically tech, you would want to pay more money for more complicated. But they're like, no, fuck you. You're gonna pay us more to be more simplified.
Like my keyboard, my Apple keyboard, is made of 2 pieces of metal.
Yeah. I used to have one too.
Yeah, like one piece is everything you can see visibly when you're looking at it is one piece.
Yeah.
And then the back is another piece.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I used to have an iMac, like one of the big, like 27-inch screen.
Yeah, and that was
iMacs.
Pretty much like one piece snap metal, the whole thing.
And that's how I learned how to edit, was on Final Cut Pro. And
yeah,
I miss Mac. I was thinking about getting a Mac Mini, but the new age ones aren't backwards compatible. They've like switched their chipset or something. So like I couldn't even use it with my old programs that I want to use it with.
Right.
I just gotta suck it up and learn the new, because like when they went from Final Cut 7 to 10, they downgrade, like it's less powerful now.
Interesting.
And it's like, why? They may have finished it now. They may have fixed it now. This was like 2012 when I would have switched.
Is it because of like the quality of the files, or like the size of the files was that much bigger?
No.
They had to nuke the system?
No, I don't think, no, because like I have Sony Vegas on my, that's what I had this podcast on, and that still has all the features that I used to have.
Oh, so they got out features.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, it got way better. They have like background rendering and stuff. Like it's way better tech wise, but they got rid of a bunch of features that were like really useful.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It may be upgradable. I don't know if there's like mods or anything.
So speaking of upgradable and mods, our business, when I say our, I mean mine,
the Royal Hour
got upgraded today. We'll see if I like it, because I'm a fickle bitch. True. But we got a project management software that is specifically meant for construction, like small scale construction.
Yeah.
So it contains a big thing is scheduling that everyone can see, that you can like dynamically change, and you can assign people to jobs. So you have jobs, you have scheduling, and you can manage people and their time as well. And I think you can link people's time to jobs. And so you can log hours and then like export that shit to QuickBooks.
Okay.
So it kind of puts that all in one place. And then also connected to jobs, you can access like drawings, documentation, photos, notes, and that kind of stuff. So all that shit can be in one place.
It's all collaborative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's combining what we use, like WhatsApp and QuickBooks and calendars and email and Google Drive for all into one platform. Which is not in and of itself. There's nothing super creative about that. There's 50, 100 different programs that do this for construction. You just kind of have to pick what's your favorite or most relevant user interface, and they go all the way from like these basic levels where it's like $10 a user to $20,000 setup fees. It's like a full enterprise resource planning system, which is like an ERP is like when you're 30, 40, 50 employees. An ERP manages from your point of sale all the way to your back end accounting and your employee management, your inventory management, all in one software.
Yeah, we have one for for like excise reporting. Like you
Right.
put in your raw ingredients and then the liquids created, and like especially for like distilling, it gets complicated because there's like the
Loss.
it doesn't go 1-to-1 like liquid to
Mm-hmm.
final product kind of thing, and it gets really complicated. But there's specialized systems for every industry,
Yeah.
unless you're super niche. But
Yeah, so we finally got a software. The implementation started today, so I got the email.
Cool.
Business partner's been home for family issues, so yeah, I guess he's just plugging away on it on his laptop, and this thing we've been talking about for 6 months,
he's like, I can't leave my house because COVID, so I'm going to finally take the dive.
Yeah, so 3 days at home means now he can work on shit, which is great. Because, we had, again, twice this week, we had fuck-ups happen that probably cost in the neighborhood of, I won't say dollar cost, because labor's not that expensive, but lost opportunity cost, like, let's say $500.
Which is like a year's worth of this fucking software.
Right.
So.
And that happened, like, twice this week.
Yeah, exactly, so.
Yeah, not very expensive to have slippage, and that's how I've read so many goddamn books. I've read corporate management. I've read, one of my favorites, tribal leadership. I've read Good to Great. I've read all these like business books about how to make your business amazing, and not just in how how to be a better marketer, how to sell more shit. I really like business theory, and I have all these things in my head, and I understand them. So when shit happens, I'm like, I know how to describe it, I know what's happening, I know how to deal with it, but actually creating the tools or a process to fix that problem going forward and in a way that works for everyone, not just like in a way that you understand, so fucking difficult.
Definitely, yeah. As soon as you start including, more and more employees, it's like everyone has a different system in their heads.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to find something that works for everybody. I agree.
I used to find it very hard to do, to be the person that pesters people to do their job correctly, or just follow a system or follow a program. I used to have a very hard time kind of speaking up and bugging people to do shit.
Yeah.
Now it's I do it naturally. I can't not do it.
Yeah.
I will criticize everyone,
which that's
even when it's out not my place.
I would say
I will say shit when I am not welcome to.
Okay,
it is
maybe not that,
unsolicited
but
advice.
I'd say in general that's a growth as you're growing as a business person.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm being facetious. I can hold my tongue, but
yeah, I know.
I my guys mentioned to me, they're like, you kind of strike me as the person that would enjoy firing someone. And I'm like, you know what? If they were being an asshole, yes I would.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
But I think most people can say that, because if I flip that script and I say, how much would you enjoy quitting your job for cause?
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh fuck yeah, that would feel so good.
Yeah. It's the same.
It's no different.
It's the same thing about firing someone. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're fucking up my business. You're doing your job poorly. You're getting in other people's way. You're being disruptive. You disrespected that person over there.
Get your shit and get the fuck out.
Yeah, it's not just you cost me money, I don't like you. It's usually always more complex than that.
Yeah, of course.
But
yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of I've been trying to put my foot down more. It's kind of weird with COVID, but as I hire more people, I our first couple employees I've been very lenient with, asking their permission before I schedule them for shifts and stuff.
Yeah.
And letting them kind of I'm I want you to do it like this. They're well, it's easier if I do it like this. I'm okay, fine. But I've been trying to get more well, no, this was your shift I scheduled it for. We're not negotiating here. It needs to get done today kind of thing. I've been trying to be more aggressive, but in a obviously still respectful way. I'm not obviously being no, I don't give a shit that your dad just died. You're working today. Not like that, obviously. But I'm trying to be more, I am the boss. There's a clear dynamic here. You're going to do it my way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
been difficult as well. Cause especially as a young entrepreneur, you don't I don't know about you, but I don't like hurting people's feelings. I try to, maybe not hurting people's feelings, but I try to just be
agreeable.
Yeah, keep the peace for the most part.
I 100% get what you're saying.
Don't look for conflict.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and there's a middle ground where you find that you can say your piece, but also be respectful.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows that shitty feeling when you walk out of a conversation or, a meeting and you didn't speak your mind.
Yeah.
And you knew you had something to contribute and you saw the meeting go the wrong way and you didn't say anything, or you tried and you got shut down.
I've never been
and
there.
You didn't and you didn't have that clap back moment where you could pull the stage back in your direction. Whether it's conversation or a business meeting or whatever.
And then in the shower later, you're
right,
running it over in your head.
I kind of have to laugh at that because for most of my life, I was the, thinking in the shower guy, but I was never...
Is that all you do in the shower?
Yeah. Explicitly. I don't even clean myself.
I don't even go in the water.
I smell so bad.
I just sit there.
I've always been more of I have that conversation in my head, but I have it in advance.
Okay.
So I think about situations or conversations that are going to happen, and then I have all those hypotheticals in my head before they happen.
It's playing chess, right?
Yeah.
Like you think of of
it's
all the ways that the person's going to act, and then how are you going to respond to that?
Right. So instead of the regrets of reflecting on the conversation, I could have said this, I do that before it happens, and that's just always the way my brain has worked. Since I've, as young as I can remember, that's just always the way I've been. So I kind of built the confidence in coming into meetings and moments and having them go exactly the way that I want them to. Namely, for example, the partnership conversation I had recently was I had nothing but doubts going into it. I'm here's all the ways that it could go wrong, but at the same time, I knew what I was going to say and how I was going to talk and how I was going to present it. But it was just I was thinking about all the other ways that it could go, all the side roads. But it went fantastically because mostly people are good, and mostly people do what they say they're going to do when they're good people. And despite the fact that I'm used to the things not going that way, shitty people.
Yeah. That's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah. Also, I'm just gonna wedge this in here. If you're in a business where it's just par for the course is, fucking your friends, your business associates, and cycling them quickly. And that's pat on the back, you get ahead by fucking someone over. Just go into a different business. It doesn't have to be that way. You can just opt out.
Yeah.
You just say, you know what? I don't need to do this anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that...
The mass exodus of quitting, there's just legitimately shitty jobs out there, and that's okay. You just don't need to participate.
Yeah, but someone's got to do them, right?
No. They can just die. Fuck them.
That's a hot take.
If restaurants are so shitty to work in, they should change.
Yeah, I don't, I
don't want to participate in an industry that benefits off the exploitation of,
the proletariat.
Yes. Exploitation of people that just don't know how to, if you talk to people that tend bar or are line cooks or, they don't know anything else.
Yeah.
Most of them, they started that when they were 16, and it's all they've ever done, and it's they can't even get their head out of it. Try thinking about not just switching jobs. Think about switching industries.
Yeah.
Doing something you don't understand and have never done before.
I guess that's scary for a lot of people, though.
It's incredibly scary.
But I was going to say, exactly what you're saying, people with, left-leaning, people with, communist, socialist ideals might say something like that the job should go away if it's a shitty job kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I tend to agree, but on the opposite side where that's the free market providing. If the labor doesn't want to do your job for even $25 a fucking hour, then that's the market deciding that you're a shitty boss and you don't
either automate it or get rid of it.
Or do it here's what I always tell people is if the minimum wage was significantly higher than it was when I opened,
mm-hmm.
I probably would have gone out of business.
Yeah.
But you know what I did instead of, because my starting wage in my company is above minimum, is 30% above minimum wage.
Yeah.
And when I started, because I couldn't afford to pay higher than minimum wage, I just did all the work myself and didn't sleep.
Yeah.
So I'm in a couple restaurant groups and Facebook groups for restaurant and bar owners. And every so often, you'll get someone in there that's like, fucking CERB, fucking stimmy checks are making it so no one wants to fucking work. And then I go in and people are always like, oh, meh, 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 meh. I just go in there and go, fucking do it yourself then. You can't cook? You can't fucking serve drinks? Go fucking serve drinks. Save yourself the money. Like, whoa, I work all day. Well, yeah, work all night too, dickhead. That's what but fuck you. Like,
most people that, I'll say this. The natural tendency, as soon as I have, labor workers, anybody around me, under me that I manage, the ability for me to look busy and do nothing, exponential growth.
well, yeah.
It's even just a little, just a small shit. I'm like, I don't want to sweep that up. Hey, can you sweep that?
What do you have employees for if not that?
I didn't have to say it. He would have done it.
Yeah.
I don't need to be here. I don't need to micromanage your ass. You know what needs to be done. I could leave and nothing would change.
Yeah.
But because I just told you to do that thing, now I feel self-important, like I'm contributing.
Yeah.
I recognize this tendency in myself because I've done it and seen it to the extreme. And I think this is my unfair advantage in business is I have this level of self-awareness of when I hit this trigger point of oh, I've been fucking useless for the last 40 minutes because I've been playing manager.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna call you motherfuckers out. If you're, business owner, manager, whatever, how often are you playing manager and kidding yourself and saying that's actually providing value to your business? And middle management doesn't do motherfucking anything. What business owners do, they blaze trails, they do hard meetings, they negotiate, they raise capital, they do the hard, impossible shit that nobody else can possibly make time for, future looking, forward looking, whatever. Or you get in the trenches because you know what? You can't look to the future and forward and grow if your trenches are on fire.
Yeah, of course. If there's no foundation to build on.
You have to be able to do both. And if you're doing neither and you're just managing people and saying well, you need to do that thing.
Yeah. Well, and then here's what I'll say is that if you want to hire employees to do jobs that you don't like to do, as a business owner, that's your right. If you can afford it, fine. But you don't need to be fucking standing over their shoulder telling them to do it then.
Yeah.
What's the point
don't play manager.
What's the point of hiring people to then manage those people?
If just the phrase don't play manager triggers you, I got some news, bud.
Well, because if you're hiring people that are too incompetent to function without your management, then you're probably hiring poor people.
You're just bad at hiring.
You're bad at hiring, yeah.
Or you're bad at managing and training.
You're bad at making a system.
And you're bad at managing expectations.
Yeah.
Because...
And you're going to be that's the worst kind of boss. That's the boss that's disrespected the most.
I can say genuinely... I've never been in a situation or in a company where I couldn't salvage a team.
Okay.
There's been individuals I couldn't salvage.
Yeah, but sometimes that's part of saving the team is cutting off the gangrenous parts, right?
It's on the periphery. It's never been more than half.
Of the team.
It's usually, less than a quarter, less than 10%. Usually it's one.
Well, don't they say there's no bad employees, there's bad managers?
100.
That's typically.
There's both.
Yeah. Okay.
I will say there's both. There's people that are just okay, you have, you're good at your job. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
But you have nothing in common with this company and its values.
Yeah. Which that's most of my interview process when I hire people is just their vibe.
Yeah.
Is I ask them.
That's the way we describe it. But yes.
It's obviously more complicated than that. But I ask leading questions that have nothing to do with the actual job to get information about their whole kind of outlook.
Yeah.
I remember last person I hired, young girl, she was 18. She's I hired someone 3 months after their 18th birthday to sell alcohol, which is funny.
Perfect.
But I remember asking her the question, I hired her, it was down to 3 candidates and I had another round of interviews and I asked her, because we're in the alcohol industry, I just asked her about local alcohol and what she likes personally. And she said, well, I don't want to snitch on myself, but I've been drinking for 3 years or whatever, because she was 18 at the time. And I remember that just making me laugh. the way she framed the
Yeah.
question was like, okay, I know that was illegal, but I think it's relevant to this. Like, just that framing
Isn't going to be like, well, I read about, and just gives you the
Yeah.
canned answer.
Yeah, so the framing, how she approached the question, was why I hired her.
So this reminds me of the fact that I'm currently with my girlfriend writing her not entrance, what do you call it? Admissions essays
Application, right?
and applications, and like letters of intent, and yeah, it's letters of intent and essays and resumes. And she kind of has a tendency to be like, they want this to sound academic and professional, and I'm like, fuck that, I'm making it spicy.
I think you gotta. You know how many?
You
fucking,
have to.
You know how many of these people read?
Exactly. She's not thinking that. She's like, how do I say this in a way that sounds correct? And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm thinking about the motherfucker that's sitting there reading this, and I'm like, how do I snap this guy out of his fugue state
Yeah, I agree,
and make
I
him
agree.
start listening?
Yeah, I agree.
Like, how do I make this person feel something? So I actually went, and I'm like, that was my starting thought. And then I went...
Hey, fucko. That's what you say in that essay.
Right. So I went on the interwebs, and I
True.
just Googled award-winning admissions essays, and then like Harvard, Stanford, Caltech, whatever. Like
University of Winnipeg.
What? So like best entrance essays, like award-winning, whatever. And I just...
Welcome to Watch Mojo. Today we're going over the top 10 entrance essays for Harvard Business School.
Honestly,
Number 10,
great idea.
Burger King foot lettuce.
I like foot lettuce. But yeah, I read
You would.
a bunch of articles. Like, I was just like speed reading through these things and getting the general theme, because they all had a general, like, there was consistencies in kind of how all these things would start. I was looking for openers. I wanted like the first 1, 2, 3 sentences so I could get kind of like my jumping off point, because that's the hardest thing for me is blank page.
Yeah.
So I had my idea, I had the content sheet, like wrote me a page of notes, and I'm like, okay, I want to make this person wake up. And kind of pick through the stories, and obviously I know her intimately well, and I can write as if I was her, because...
This sounds kind of illegal. Sounds like fraud to me.
No, like...
It's reverse plagiarism.
I do... She does 90% of the work. I basically...
Now you're backtracking, but okay, that's not what you were saying before, but...
Well, you twisted it on me.
that doesn't sound like something I'm good at.
I'll say this: 100% of the content is her.
100% of everything was her.
I arranged it really pretty.
You're an outside consultant.
Yeah.
In case you're listening, University of Caltech.
Yeah, no, I basically took all of her ideas and I just like wrote it in an eloquent way, and I'm maybe blowing smoke out my own ass right now, and she's not going to get in, and it'll be
Hilarious.
hilarious / humiliating for everyone, mostly me, but
that's your kink, so
sure. But yeah, I basically just took this idea and like, how do I grab this person's attention? But I think that process of finding what's interesting, identifying a pattern, and then using that pattern, using personal and relevant stories, and then spinning that into, and yet hitting all the points, but doing it in like kind of an atypical way. Because my goal was, for example, they have a list of questions that you need to address in your essay. And most people okay, I want to make sure they know I'm answering this question, so I'll put the question in the answer, and it's like this clunky kind of gross, whatever writing. I think it's gross.
I agree.
I
was known to do some good essays when I was a youngin'.
I believe you would. We're the same person. We think the same way. But I answered all the questions in a way that was like impossible to identify the questions. But if you like reference the questions, or if you had read 50 of these things or 150 of these things,
you'd be able to identify.
You would know that it hit all the points, but did it in a clean way.
Yeah.
And appreciate that, right?
Yeah.
Because wow, I didn't hate reading this.
Yeah.
So I did it so effectively that when she was proofreading it. So like she gives me notes, I rough draft it, and then she runs it through like 3-4 cycles of edits. That's why I say she actually does like 90% of the work. So she was doing the first proofread on it, and she's like, "Did you like answer the questions?" She couldn't identify them. I'm like, sweet. And she wrote the notes and all the answers to all the questions, and I literally just took her notes and put them into an essay. Like, it was there. She should have, if anyone could have seen it, she should have, but made them disappear into the text. Like, that kind of stuff, that subtext, how in the fuck do you, like, I think doing this process is kind of made me look at job interviewing differently, because who does it better? I shouldn't say who does it better. Who does it more and at a larger scale than universities taking admissions?
Probably no one, right?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, big companies like Amazon and shit, but Amazon is looking for a worker that lasts 6 to 9 months and then leaves because they're burned out.
Yeah, yeah.
That's Amazon's ideal situation.
Someone like Google, maybe, but they don't hire a ton of people.
Right. And they hire a very specific type of person.
Yeah.
Which I guess everyone is trying to hire a specific type of person, but...
Wow, that was profound.
Yeah, companies like that, but you're not going to get the Google secrets on how they hire.
We should do Google. We should do on this podcast one time. Google has a bunch of weird interview questions they ask.
Yeah.
We should do those.
Try to answer them.
I remember a few of them. Like one of them was like, how much would you charge to wash every window in Brooklyn?
How much would you charge to wash every window? Like they wanted like a grand total number.
That's the question. So, I did like one of these mock quizzes one time.
Yeah.
My first thought, $15 an hour.
Fair.
I don't know.
I mean, that's really low, but sure.
Most of them are like open-ended questions with no real answer. You're just trying to, they're trying to see how you approach it. But another one was like something about, you're a captain of a pirate ship with 100 pirates. You need to divide the booty. If more than 51% of the pirates don't agree with you, they kill you. How do you maximize the profit, or how do you maximize the, or how do you? I think the question is just like, how do you cut it up? How do you split it up?
So you appeal to
51%.
51%.
Yeah.
Of social issues.
Perfect.
And 49% of their economic issues. And then 51% of economic issues and 49% of social issues. You divide them into two camps that can never agree or disagree.
Yeah, and make them fight each other.
Well, and then you keep all the money because they can't agree.
Well, and 80% of people are apolitical, so they won't even care.
We just invented America.
Perfect. Yeah, but I know they have a lot of weird... I remember there was one too that was something like a man's pushing his car past like this whatever, and then he like loses money. What happened? And like I forgot how they phrased it, but the answer was like he landed on Boardwalk in Monopoly.
Oh yeah,
and that was the answer.
Yeah. What if I didn't play Monopoly?
Yeah, well, exactly. Then you're not good. You're not a fit here. I'm sorry.
You're not worthy of being a Google
you're not
employee.
Fit. You can't work at Google, which is Willows Google. Anyway, we'll probably transition here into our final segment, which...
I think we should keep going forever.
Which we call Tip of the Week, where Tyler and I give you a business or life tip of something that we are currently going through in reality.
Sure.
Or the metaverse. I was thinking about this one today, where... So it's January now, and January, February, March are my slowest season for the business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the hospitality and the liquor industry. Everyone's doing their bullshit dry January, and they have New Year's resolutions to fucking drink less and shit, right?
Yeah.
But by March, everyone forgot about it.
I would never say that,
by the time it gets warm, everyone's forgot about that.
Yeah.
But that's what's happening right now. So January's... I remember the first January... Because I opened in like January in 2017. So when you opened, we had the hype and everything. So I didn't really experience a slow January, February because it was like launch. But my first year, so like January, February, the first year, like 12, 13 months in operation. I remember like sales dropped off like 50%, and I was sitting in my friend's bar, and I was just like lamenting and being like, I'm going out of fucking business. Like, you know, we've cut sales by like 50%. And he's like, what, in January? I'm like, yeah. He's like, dude, like, yeah, it's hospitality. Like, I lay off half my staff for the first quarter of the year.
Yeah.
Because just people aren't coming out. And I'm like, oh, okay. So now that I have, like, we're coming up on 5 years at the end of January, and I can see, oh yeah, there is a well-defined cycle here.
Yeah, I kind of laugh when you're like, business is shitty, and I'm like, yeah, Willows, usually in January,
dramatic,
your friends all empty their bank accounts to borrow you money to like not go bankrupt, and that's not happening this year. You're just like kind of worried about going bankrupt, and like, I consider this a dramatic improvement.
I'm pretty dramatic on both sides, on the happy and the sad. But anyway, my point being, coming in with slow season here, combined with COVID, have already reduced sales.
Yeah.
And now with these new restrictions coming back in, like I have no way to increase my sales. I can't just work harder.
Yeah.
Like if I can't have parts of my business open. And then on top of that, my supply chain's fucked. Everything's more expensive. We've talked about this at length. Like all my berries, my bottles, everything, literally everything is more expensive, significantly, double to 4 times.
Which you can't pass on those costs.
To raise the price, like my average bottle is about $16. To raise the prices that I make the same margin percentage, I'd have to sell for like 85.
That's insane.
Yeah, because it's about 4x the cost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So anyway, whatever. But so my partner and I have decided for probably until the busy season starts up again in the spring, we're just going to scale back production.
Right.
We're not going to make any wine, or if we do, it'll be just to keep up with the liquor store orders.
Right.
But we're going to, and I'm going to start eating through a lot of my seasonal inventory. I have a lot of like seasonal wines that I age for like a year or two, but
yeah.
I pace the releases, so we always have new stuff coming out. I think what we're going to do is just let some of the cores sell out. I'm going to replace them with these seasonals and just eat through my supply, because I have $300,000 worth of wine that's just in storage aging.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take a break for the slow season and just not spend any money, because I got to save it. And I was kind of really, when I was coming with this decision, you know, especially with startups, I was always in the mentality, it's like, you need to be doubling every fucking year or you're going out of business, right? You need to just aggressive expansion, and that's the only way you can make it. So I think my tip is going to be, don't like sit back and really think about it, because sometimes like if I keep pushing this business, it's going to break, I think.
Yeah.
Like, because, and you know, we're having a 1 in 100 year fucking global pandemic right now. Like, it's, you know, it's
there's extenuating circumstances.
It's not my fault, right? I could be doubling.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like 17 different things all happening at once. So I think if I push and try to keep up the level of production, it's gonna break, and I don't think it's
level of growth. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's gonna work in the opposite. Like if I try to aggressively expand too much, it's not gonna work.
Well, rule number 1, don't lose money. It's not rule number 1, grow.
Yeah.
There's a giant distinction.
And you can only aggressively grow once you're not losing. Like, see rule 1 for rule 2, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be kind of my tip, is that because I was like getting upset about this.
Yeah.
That I wasn't going to be able to expand. It looks like our 2021 numbers are in line with our 2019 numbers.
Right.
So I peaked in 20, and now I've come back down.
Right.
Kind of weird with the fiscals, but
yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The 12 months ending in 2019.
Not rolling, yeah.
Not rolling, yeah.
Those who are not up on the financials are like, what?
Yeah. But, you know, it is what it is. Like, I've been in tougher positions, and I think giving yourself a little mental break and being like, you know what? Sometimes there is extenuating circumstances.
A few, yeah.
Because I like,
Literally most of them.
you know, sometimes I'm like, well, suck it up, bitch. Life isn't fair. Like, just work harder.
But you can only do that for so many things. Like you said, you literally can't. There's nothing. None of these variables are on you, period.
No.
And you can't overcome the variables by being a different you.
Yeah. I can't just work harder to get rid of, like, the industry's tied up, right? Like, there's nothing.
Yeah, like what you could maybe do is like go like sell a part of your business, raise a bunch of capital, like, but those are not necessarily the best move. They would just be like the best move for the next fiscal year.
Yeah.
Which is why public companies are notoriously bad actors, because they're working on quarterly.
Because they need their quarterly bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, they have a quarterly agenda of increasing the stock price and having the reporting, whatever.
Yeah.
Because they got to report.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you can make the smart decision. Like some companies went public, tried to grow, hit a plateau or this kind of point that you're at right now, but for whatever reasons, realize, you know what, we have to double down. We have to maybe do the opposite. We can't make profit right now because we have to invest super heavily into production. We're going into heavy production phase, no profits, lots of change, lots of volatility, and we're going to like depress our stock to the point of bankruptcy. So we're going to actually, at this high point, we're going to take our company private. We're going to buy back all our stock, and then go private for a number of years, do this thing we need to do, and then go back public. And the company I'm thinking of, I can't name it right now, but it was tech. They went back public like 5x of when they went back off, and then since then they've went to the fucking moon. But it's that point of making the right decision of how do we move forward, and this is maybe a very good time for like reflection and inflection where you guys can reinvent yourselves, reinvent your product lines. Like you're doing a bunch of stuff that's going to be new in the next year that's not dramatically more expensive or different,
which we're doing it at like this definitely, the pandemic has changed a lot of things. The way I look at the business too. I kind of am now realizing, maybe I'll change my mind once things get better, but I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to be doing this in another 5 years.
Yeah.
I think I
think most business owners feel that way.
That's fair. I
I think everyone says that.
That's fair. I think I do want the business to survive.
You don't want to feel like this in 5 years.
Yes. But I felt like I was so fucking close. You know what I mean? Like, It was like even halfway through the pandemic, like maybe a year ago, 6 months into the pandemic, like a year and a half ago, I was like feeling good.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we're like retaining a lot of money. Like,
you restructured your debt.
We restructured our debt. Like, we're fucking doing good. And now it's like, yeah, but who fucking knew this was going to go 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Or longer, right? So, yeah, I don't know. So that's kind of my tip, is just, don't feel like you're beholden to this aggressive expansion. Like, every business is different and every person is different, and don't feel like you're beholden to something like that.
Well, yeah, I think I would add to that, don't think every year has to be a top line revenue growth number. This year could be the most pivotal point for reinventing yourself ever. In these next couple of months of you stepping back, you guys might create the thing that boosts you from your $100,000 a year to $1 million a year. That phase of development could happen exactly in this wind down, and that's usually when it happens. Like I just said about the software, as soon as we had the biggest interruption of scheduling and production, which is Christmas, New Year's, COVID, and like personal shit coming up, all of that combining, should be grinding productivity to a halt and fucking your profits, but it's made things that need to happen. So look for those things would be my piece of advice to your advice.
Well, and to be fair though, I'm also like, we're going out of fucking business
constantly,
but like first 12 months of operation I did like $80,000.
Yeah.
Last 12 months I've done like 450.
Yeah.
So I've been in worse positions than
you could scale down.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
So I think we allegedly drank some tea for New Year's.
Okay.
And
I have no memory of this, but okay.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But I really like the rituals that we've kind of established over the last couple of years.
Who, me and you?
Yeah, and our group of friends.
Well, they're whatever. Me and you were the most important.
Sure. Obviously.
Obviously.
But it's not only like this circle of trust, but it's also this cycle of rituals that, I mean, I'm starting to understand why people like doing things a certain way over and over. Like, I'm becoming an old man, I guess.
Well, neither of us are very into well, I guess you are more than me. I was gonna say routine. Like I don't like daily routines.
Oh, I
and
love
stuff.
destroying my routine.
Yeah, me too. So,
But I think ritual and routine are very different.
I agree.
Like, we do the same rituals, but we do them different every time.
Yeah.
Um,
Depending on what drugs we can get that week.
what?
I mean,
You should beep that out.
depending on me.
But anyways, there's expectations leading up to it, and then there's the the afterglow,
The come down.
the come down and the afterglow. It's really good tea. I think it's really funny sitting between Christmas and New Year's when you're like, I don't know how I could ever be like productive again.
Yeah, I had a
Like,
week.
I think I'm destined to be like a part of this couch.
I had 4 days where I didn't leave my house.
Yeah, like
Like,
this is me now.
yeah.
This
yeah,
is it. This is the best I've got.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you come out on the other side, and having processed all of this, you just sink your teeth into your business or your job or whatever the fuck. And you do a couple of days of routine because you know how to do what you're doing. And then all of a sudden, you're like, wait a second. I've got some new ideas. I feel refreshed. I feel energized. Like, I'm excited for the future. Like, you just kind of like have this slow burn, and it's like, oh yeah, this year is starting up again. Like, let's go. And like, you're not even thinking about the couch anymore. When 4 days ago, where you're like, I can't imagine
wanna go back to
anything
work.
outside of this couch. Like, that
Remember-
transition it's a fucking drug, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. And it's, remember, I said that when we were in Mexico.
Yeah.
Like, towards the end of the trip, like 12 days, I was like, I just want to get back to work at this point. Like, I was feeling refreshed, and I
Yeah.
had new ideas, and we had talked long nights on the balcony, like, talking about our plans with business and everything. And it was like, dude, I'm fucking jacked now.
Yeah.
And that's why I think vacationing is important, which we try to do every year, but we haven't been able to leave the fucking province in 2 years. But it's the same kind of idea, though, where you have
embrace the cycle.
you have but Christmas, that kind of time we're talking about, the holiday time, is even more profound because everyone's on vacation.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting collective, like, everyone takes a breath kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And that's kind of actually what I wrote this essay on, was like the collective took a deep breath effect that the pandemic had on the world, where everyone just kind of stopped and was like, look around, is like, oh God, I need to reevaluate my life and my values, my situation, which is why restaurants are having a hard time hiring people, but also high quality jobs are getting a lot of applicants and really high quality hires, because all these people that were bloody geniuses, marketing marvels, salespeople that were killers, working as servers and bartenders, now like moving their way into like different jobs, like good jobs, have no shortage of amazing applicants.
Yeah.
Shit jobs can no longer entrap those people into working shit jobs.
Yeah, I think there is definitely a...
Until there's a new generation of people that don't know it better, and
Yeah.
then everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Like, hospitality has a young demographic of staff for a reason, because they're ignorant.
Yeah, I agree.
And we just got like, you just got fucking whacked on the side of the head, and the ignorant got knocked out of the world for just,
for a
hot
second,
minute.
for
Yeah.
for a moment at least.
Yeah, and that's all it is. This is a readjustment period. I have no doubt it'll go back to normal, and we'll be bitching about the same shit in 5 years.
Oh yeah, that's how
But
that works.
I think one of the best, most profound pieces of advice that I ever got from a psychopath was, aka my old boss.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. As soon as you said psychopath.
There's a difference. Specifically, this one is a psychopath, not just a bad person.
We don't use that word lightly.
Yeah, there's a cyclical nature of high performers, is how he defined it. So high performers, quote,
Strong men, quote, quote.
right, slippery slope, all that shit. Let's just leave it generally at high performers.
Sure.
I like that term.
High
a lot of people
performers
can relate to that.
Create positive work environments, which
No,
creates
no.
weak performers.
No, that's not it. So, people that, let's say, operate at their limit of capability,
Cap.
like try hard,
Yeah.
will have a cyclical nature to their year. The way that he described it was a salesperson. So this is something that can be measured, which is why I really latched onto it, because this is like quantifiable, measurable, and
Data.
easily understood. So this was done with salespeople specifically, and quote high performing salespeople. So top 5%, top 3% of any industry selling anything have a cyclical nature to their sales, and it's usually, I'm gonna say, I think it's 4 ups and 4 downs, which I mean fucking quarterly numbers, right? I think it's 4 ups and 4 downs. So as a high performer, you're not shooting for, I'm going to sell 30 cars every month. That's what chumps do. Sorry, person.
Chumps.
Sorry, chumps. You don't say, I'm going to sell 30 cars every month. You're going to say, I'm going to sell an average of 30 cars every month by selling 62 this month, because you know what I'm doing in December? Fucking the hell off. Because you know what customers are doing? Fucking the hell off.
Yeah.
Because you know what they're not doing? Buying cars when they're also trying to buy Christmas presents.
Yeah.
Like, the most useless I have ever felt in my life was being a car salesman
In December.
on December 24th, standing in a showroom,
Trying to get your 30th car.
playing pocket pool,
Yeah.
pouring my 4th cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Like, let that be a visual. So that is corporate speak,
Ignorance.
pushing down, saying you need to show up at 7, you need
Yeah.
to go home at 4. And you know who was exempt from those conversations? Was the guys that averaged 32 cars a month. It was not the guys that sold 32 cars every month. It was the guys that averaged 32 cars a month. They could literally sleep on the manager's desk, and the manager would be like, you know what, bro? Let me tuck you in.
Yeah.
Because
Hey, money talks.
they fucking figured it out by not following the advice. The most successful salesmen I found completely defy all the advice of their managers, of their trainers, of everything that you're told.
Which is funny because you might get fired for that at some places.
Not if you get results.
Yeah, that's what I say to my people all the time.
Yeah, you gotta be a contrarian. So
Some of my market people do stuff a way I wouldn't do it, but if they're selling fucking wine, I don't like.
Yeah.
Doesn't fucking matter.
So yes, I guess that's a side point, but embrace the cycles and embrace the rituals, because if you have high highs and you have low lows, I think you appreciate everything a little bit more. I think there's a limit to that. Obviously, people of extremes drive me crazy. Where
Like
it's like,
Willows.
sure, and also this person I'm talking about was like, I'm gonna not eat food for 28 days, and then I'm going to eat pizza 4 times a day, like an entire pizza 4 times a day for the next 10 months, and then I'm gonna also not eat for 28 days straight, and I'm gonna go from like fat to skinny, and then fuck myself up that way. Like, there's a limit to it. What's your cycle? An acceptable bottom and a reasonable top, where you can live within the bounds of like your relationships and stuff without making people hate you. For me, New Year's is significant. my birthday is significant. My birthday being mid-October. Why did I say that? Mid-August.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure your birthday's in the
I
summer.
was thinking one thing and the other word came out of my mouth.
I see my eyes. I was like, wait
What?
wait a second here.
I'm glad that you know my birthday.
I knew it was in the summer.
Yeah. So mid-August. So it's like that's kind of a six month cyclical. So I currently have the 2 points, and my birthday being a low point, which is kind of weird. It's like, oh, I'm getting older.
We always talk about this. Like, you always switch your career trajectory significantly on your birthday.
But not necessarily just career trajectory, just I reevaluate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's happened like 4 times since I've known you in 6 years.
And if it's not my birthday, it's New Year's.
Yeah.
So, or shortly thereafter.
Yeah, around there.
And make my mind about stuff.
So have you changed your mind yet?
No.
Well, I don't know.
No, what I'm doing, this is why I feel so good, is because I come through that valley.
Oh, and you're like on the right path.
I just want to re-up.
Oh, okay. I like that, actually.
And not just like with work, but like with my relationship, which is funny because after like and when we drink tea and stuff, it's kind of on that cycle too. It's like mid-late summer and also New Year's. So I'm kind of on this cycle where like my relationship just improves every time I come through one of these.
Yeah.
And like it's noticeable for her, it's noticeable for me, and also like business like seems to be improving. So it's like I've been going through this like iterative process where it's like
brag more, why don't you? I'll sit here being depressed and with a failing business.
Please do.
What?
Where I've been in this iterative process of like pain my entire life.
I wish.
And now I'm like finally coming out on the other side. I'm like, I don't want to just rip it all apart and like leave town.
Go break signs and
go like allegedly.
Yeah. I meant as a metaphor.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to break shit. I just want to like improve. And it's really, really, really cool to be in that place because I've embraced the iterative process and I don't shy away from the break it all down and fucking start over. And I think for your business, you guys, you're going through this iterative cycle plus all these circumstances of the pandemic and supply chains and inflation and whatever. You have a chance to reinvent yourselves, and I would say take this low point and think, okay, I don't want to come back from this and make another 250 grand. I want to come back from this and make another 10 million. Period. How do I crack that barrier? Like, approach this like you're homeless again.
I'm pretty close.
Right, exactly. Embrace that.
All I'll have is my top hat and my balls, and I don't break them for nobody.
And these and these microphones. Like,
I'll be podcasting on... Oh, that'd be... fuck, I'll do that. Homeless podcaster. Invite people on the street to be on the show.
That'd be dope.
Yeah. I'm like all plugged in outside at a fucking McDonald's.
The microphone stops working because it freezes and the diaphragm doesn't work.
Ah, shit. Oh, yeah, it's cold out.
Yeah.
Damn it.
So, yeah, long-winded, but my tip would be embrace the cycle and use the bottom as much as you enjoy the top.
Oh, way ahead of you, buddy.
Yes, that was sexual, and embrace that too. Yeah, so if you're feeling down,
get a clown.
Good. It's good to be down. I like being down.
I know you do.
Fucking hit me more. Smack me around.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Alcohol.
I'm going to come up.
Alcohol Beyond This Point, episode 55. Alcohol Beyond This Point on Instagram.
Is it 55 already? Only 14 more.
To what? Oh, no. My name is Willows. This idiot is Tyler. And we'll see you in the next Top Hat episode.
Next Top Episode Hat.
Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast.
This isn't two podcasters talking business. This is two business guys trying to podcast.